thing. So as you can see, once again, I do this. Once again, I can release this diaphragm without connecting it to my breathing, but it's my preference to connect it to my breathing because the effects that it has in lots of other different ways. And one of the things that it does is it creates a practice for me. I love the practice, and so that's why I do it that way. But the rules, again, the rules are in through your nose, out through your mouth. You want to count when you breathe in and count when you breathe out. Just make sure the number is the same. Doesn't matter what the number is. The big, small, doesn't matter. It's just that it's the same number, that your back is relatively free, that you do this diaphragmatic release when you're doing the breathing in, and that your shoulders aren't coming up. So I'm going to do a couple right now. And I said this before, one of the things that I noticed is when I'm doing it, as I do it, my shoulders may go down. They won't come up when I inhale, but they may drop down when I exhale. And that just means that the tension of my neck and shoulders is being released. And so that's really cool. So that's fine. And totally love that. And the other thing is that you want to practice. Practice is very, very important. And anybody who I've ever talked to about this work, who I've thrown it out there as something for them to try, and then checked in later and they said that it doesn't work. If I ask them, are you practicing? Their answer is inevitably no. And so that just reinforces for me that the most important thing, or one of the really important things in the context of doing this stuff, is practicing. You have to practice anything if you want to get better at it. And the practice thing is really important for me because it's a way to me in the context of this stuff so that I can use it whenever I want to. And again, practice is not about when you're doing it like a performance, like performing something. You practice before you perform so that when you perform, you can do it as best as you possibly can. And so that's why you want to pick a time to practice. I practice twice a day, every day, but it doesn't require that. However, I always say that if you're going to practice once a day, try to make sure it's not right before you go to sleep, because then it gets connected to your sleeping stuff, sleeping cycle, going to sleep practices, and then it's more about going to sleep and not about just about anything. Now, I will also throw out that you can absolutely use this to help you go to sleep. I do that all the time, help me go back to sleep. But it's not a thing that I practice before. So in other words, when I'm doing it before I'm going to sleep, that's more like the performance, whereas practicing is just simply focused on the breathing. And you don't have to do it for half an hour on the side of a mountain. You can do it for 5 or 10 minutes. It's really just a couple of good breaths so you can get that sense of what it feels like. And that's all that's required. So, and another thing to throw out for Back to Basics Sunday, on this particular Sunday, I talk a lot about questions and asking questions. And one of the things that I really don't like about this format is that it's just me talking, and it's not an interactive back and forth kind of thing. Because for me, questions are the basis of conversation for me. And if I'm just talking, then I don't know where you're coming from. I don't know what you're interested in. I don't know how you're experiencing what I'm saying, and all that stuff's left out. And so that's a drag. However, this is live streaming, and the way it goes. So that is what it is. But one of the things that anybody who's talked with me will realize is when I'm talking to somebody, even when I'm asking questions, I'm constantly in this position to be free to modify what I'm saying as I'm talking. I'm literally editing what I'm saying as I'm going, and not editing in like that's the wrong thing to say. It's like, is that actually what I wanted to say? Is that really a good question? And I'll be saying those things out loud to people. And this stands in stark contrast to how experts or doctors are supposed to be. And I realize that. And that's one of the reasons why I'm psyched to talk about being able to do that, because I'm saying that this whole expert paradigm that I was very much a part of, working in Harvard teaching hospitals for a long, long time, and having part of my job literally be to be telling people what to do. The delivery of a precise direction without any kind of context necessarily, or any kind of interaction between the person who I was directing. And the expert paradigm, I was paid to be an expert in certain contexts, in certain sort of areas of expertise that I'm trained in, but that this paradigm of telling people what to do is very much not what I'm doing anymore. And so then this context of being available to myself in the context of how I'm talking about things, to be free and go, oh wow, I realize as I'm asking that question, it's not a question, it's actually a statement, or it really kind of might be colonizing of you and your experience. And so I'm kind of want to pull that question back and kind of see if I can reform it. And literally what I'm talking about, and any, you know, people who have talked to me know that I do this. It's on purpose, because I'm in a process as I'm speaking of thinking about what I'm saying and maybe wanting to modify it. And I'm also in a process of being open and collaborative about that, and transparent about exactly what I'm doing and why. And so this is just an invitation to take up that position, because I find it extremely useful, and it supports my experience of what I consider to be collaboration. And it also undermines this expert kind of way of being that I'm so not interested in. So anyway, that's what's next with Dr. Joel for today. I'll be back tomorrow, and who knows what I'll be talking about then. But I look forward to talking at you. Have a great day.